All right, first question, it goes to Dylan. Dylan, you have now joined a rarefied club, taking home your first win this past event. Walk us through that experience, and especially battling Chris Forsberg in the finals.
Well, battling Chris Forsberg in the finals was probably something that I have thought about for, I don't know, I started working for Chris in 2014, so probably a couple years before that. So to be able to duke it out in the finals with such an insane event like Orlando was honestly and truly a dream come true. It kind of just made me think about like when we first kind of started getting going in this stuff, and I knew when I found drifting and I saw Formula Driven, this is what I wanted to do, and this is what I was meant to do, right? So to be able to have that come to fruition was pretty insane, and then to ultimately take it home at the end of the day is absolutely insane. And I was looking up some facts. It sounds like we're the 28th or 29th driver to ever win a Formula Drift event, so that's a fairly small group of people. So to do that is just unbelievable, and to do it at not my favorite track is also pretty wild. So, if anything, it just gives us a bunch more confidence going forward, and now we know we can do it, and now I think everybody else knows we can too. So that is an unbelievable feeling, and we're just going to keep that momentum going the rest of the year.
All right, going down the line to everybody. So now we are approaching the midway point in 2022, which seems crazy. What is your sense of how things are going so far?
For me, I think, we had a few little mechanical things that kind of held us back during battle from Atlanta and our battle in, a tire deep bead in Orlando, which definitely set us back big time. So phenomenal car setup every time. The car feels literally the best I've ever driven it at each round so far this year, and extremely comfortable behind the wheel, creating some really good tandem pressure and proximity for us, but those little things kind of set us back with going out in top 16 in Orlando, and then also going out in top 8 in Atlanta. We're still up there, but the boys that have been consistent are starting to get away in points a little bit, so we need to stay on top of the podium from here on out and get ourselves to at least get to Irwindale with a striking distance of a championship.
Yeah, this year has been great for us and our team. We debuted the new Nissan Z, the first Nissan Z outside of Nissan's hands, and to be able to build it in such a short amount of time and debut it with a pretty solid first round finish. We went out in top 8 due to a transmission misshift with our buddy Ryan Tuerck here. The one thing that we didn't actually assemble on the car is what failed us. Outside of that, we went to the finals the past 2 rounds and jumped up to 3rd in points, which is where we want to be, especially this early on in the season. Only a handful of points out of 1st, so brand new car debut, and obviously all of our partners involved, Nal's Energy Drink, Nissan GT Radio, it's just helping us to get that car back into a championship contender, and we're really happy about it.
So this year, it's been wild so far, on and off track, getting married, rebuilding a freaking car between rounds, sitting 2nd in points. But to be honest, I have my sights set only one direction, and that's to move 1 seat over. That's the goal. It's going to be a hell of a year so far, and I would like to just keep up the consistency. That's it. If we can stay on the podium, stay in the top 4 every round, it'll be a hell of a battle in the last couple ones. So I'm feeling good. It's glad to see that the series is absolutely booming, selling out left and right, live stream numbers crushing left and right. So I think it's good for our partners, good for us drivers. We're pumped and going to stay focused.
So adding to what Matt was saying, I think it's been pretty banana so far this year. Our team, we're off to a great start, sitting P1 so far. Had a great stay in the South, in Atlanta and in Florida, and it was pretty cool seeing everything unfold in Orlando. It was wild. And Matt actually ran up to me with a beer after the event saying, the battle's on, or something like that. So it's definitely on. Look at these boys here. They've all been killing it so far. And what can we do? We can only try and do our best out there for the remainder of the season.
This question is to Ryan. This is a leftover question, actually, from the last press conference. We missed you in Long Beach. After Long Beach, Ryan, you were carrying the lead going into Road Atlanta. Did it feel differently to be the leader at that point? Was it a burden or business as usual?
I feel like I only felt the pressure really when it came down to qualifying, as being a championship leader. First time being first up for qualifying in quite some time, and you're kind of setting the tone for the rest of the drivers and for the judges to kind of set their kind of like where they're going to judge you in the realm of points. So I kind of, and it took some time for, I don't know, live stream to get finished or whatever and for me to go. So I got a little tight in the car and didn't lay down a lap that was on par with some of my best laps in practice, which is always a bummer when that happens for qualifying. So that's really the only point that I felt any bit of pressure on leading the championship. Other than that, it was just business as usual, focused on strategy and just trying to beat our teammate over there, which didn't happen, unfortunately, but you're just always looking ahead to the next thing.
Chris, you've had 2 really good events that have been pretty much consistent throughout this 2022 season, and that has catapulted you right into the top 3. And given the new car and how everything's going so far, you seemingly have a very good chance at yet another one for the record books of World Championship. Are you even thinking about that right now?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We are focused on championship. This isn't just us, going out and burning some tires off. The car is there. We have the speed. We have the handling. It is the best car I've ever had, and I think it's showing on track. We've had some pretty crazy battles. We had 1 or 2 easy ones along the way, but a couple tough ones, with some of the guys up here with us. And yeah, it's been pretty intense for us. But to me, just like Tuerck said, it's kind of business as usual. Keep your head on straight, and I do think that we have the momentum to push for a 4th, and hoping to be the first one to get one.
Over to Matt. You won here last year. Can you recount that experience and then tell us what it takes to be successful at this track?
Yeah, winning here last year it's always special, a brand new track. And I'm pretty fortunate that my track record is overall pretty good. When we go to a new track, I almost always wind up on the podium. So that was awesome, and that's what I thought going into last year. And then I struggled a bit in the dry. And then, the rain came down, and I couldn't believe finding myself in the finals with this guy, actually. Didn't even get to battle, car problems, It was exciting, to say the least, and I think that this event last year is really what gave me the confidence to drive in the rain, and since then I've had a couple of really good events in the rain. But knowing that, all right, we struggled a little bit in the dry coming into here, and I made some changes on the car, and I made some changes to myself, and right off the trailer, sent it out the first lap, and I feel we picked up not only where we left off, but 10 steps ahead. So if I can keep that going, we should be just fine to get to the finals, but who knows what happens there.
And just to pick up on that for Chris, Gremlins put you out of the event last year. Do you feel you have some unfinished business at this track after what happened last year?
Oh yeah, absolutely. The past 2 rounds have been going great for us, and I feel like we've kind of solved a lot of the issues that we were having last year. The big one that got us in the finals with Matt here was the throttle body issue, just some electrical problems that we're having with the car. Having a brand new rebuild, we haven't had any of that since. And yeah, going into the finals, the car shut down on me going into turn 1 when I was chasing Matt. And so, we came back around. I already knew I had a 0, and I didn't want to take us both out. So I actually bowed out on the second run and gave him the bye for the win. So we, victory lap. There you go. But yeah, so definitely some unfinished business here. Just like Matt said, we've always had really great luck with new tracks. Same thing, I feel like we're always pushing for a podium or landing on the podium when we get to new tracks, new venues. We kind of get dialed in quickly and looking to kind of keep that momentum this year. It's still a new track for us, second year only. Last year was all wet, very little data for everybody. It felt really good in practice this morning. And yeah, looking to get back in that final and get it this time.
Freddie, just to talk a little bit more about the rain, obviously it played a major role at last round of Orlando. What, if anything, do you think the rain affects in terms of the outcome or results? And secondly, how does your team pivot from a dry to wet setup?
So back in the day, it used to be a big difference in performance from all the teams when the rain came down. That's not the case anymore, and everyone's really stepped up. And I think that was quite apparent in Orlando. Lots of guys have great speed, lots of guys are consistent. We used to be quite good in the rain, not so much anymore, so we have a couple ideas on stuff we want to work on moving forward. But what it is, when the rain comes down, you have 2 choices. I mean, maybe more, depending on who you ask here, but one is to keep the setup of the car the same, because it's a known quantity. The other one is to free up the car a lot and try and maximize your grip and performance in the rain. And usually it's never consistently wet. Usually it's drying or it's getting wetter. So it's very much a curveball for anyone out here to try and set the car up for those conditions.
And Dylan, just going to you because you got the win last round. Obviously, it's clear that you can drive in those wet conditions. You spent a lot of time in the Pacific Northwest. Just talking about the win in particular, is there an undue pressure or any kind of new pressure after winning an event for the first time, coming into a new round, and like what expectations do you have for yourself? Does it have to be a repeat? Does it have to be another podium, or how do you approach your competition this weekend?
Approaching competition this weekend with, I would say probably more drive than ever, just because I know now that it is possible, and I think having a new face on the podium or on the top of the box is definitely a good thing for the sport. So really stoked to be a part of all these legends here next to me, and the fact that I found myself in the top 5 is pretty crazy. So not to say that the pressure's off, but I think now we have the confidence, and because now we have the confidence, that goes a long ways for me. So now that we have the confidence and we know that it is possible, we just got to keep it rolling. So at the end of the day, we're just going to push harder than ever, and I'm absolutely loving the Falcon tires we're on. I love the BMW, and honestly, I'm just more confident than ever, especially coming off of that win. So come rain or shine, we're gonna be pushing hard.
All right, last question for everybody. We can start with Freddie down there. What can the fans expect from your team and also this kind of unique, one-of-a-kind drift facility here this weekend?
Coming here for the first time last year, I think it was apparent for everyone to see that this track really lends itself to seeing all the action on track. Fans they all have the best seat in the house. And, as a team, we're going to play on the offense. We're going to play hard. We're going to go out there, give it everything we got. And I think that goes for not only the 5 of us here, but everyone in the paddock. So I think if last year was anything to go by, I think the fans are in for a treat.
Yeah, the fans being in for a treat is an understatement. I think because this track is so small, it rewards being aggressive. So you see guys throwing down, throwing it on the wall lap after lap, doing transitions where even the driver's like, not sure how my front bumper made it through that one, but like we're rocking and rolling. So it's going to be a good show nonetheless. I know me and the team are going to keep our foot to the floor and try to rip some bumpers off this weekend and put some donuts on some doors. So that's the plan.
Yeah, I mean, this track is obviously very near and dear to my heart. This parking lot right here is where I first learned how to drift in a closed, safe setting. It's where I met Brian, it's where I met Vaughn and a bunch of other drivers. And we've been, coming back and forth here for a very, very long time, arguably the longest running drift events in the country. And it was it was 2019. We're just after our Jersey event. I was at the bar over here with the owner, Mike Knapp, of this track, and he was telling me how he wanted to do something with this. Right, the drag strip's closed down. They want to do something with the area. He wants to build a drift track, but doesn't know how or what or when or how. And basically, we started taking measurements and realized that we could fit a pretty decent track in there. It's a little small, but like we said, it's the ultimate gauntlet. It's 4-side seating. You have plenty of suites, plenty of actual grandstands. And it was an idea that I took to Formula Drift and pitched as, let's build the world's first, purpose-built permanent drift stadium. And the rest is history. What I was told last year is that it was the largest selling event of Formula Drift. And so that in itself says that, drifting, as you've all said, is here to stay. And this venue as well, it's going to be a wild one this weekend.
Well, I didn't know that you were the one that pitched the actual idea. So number one, thanks for making that happen. I mean, these guys summed it up pretty well. So I don't want to be redundant with everything that they said. Fans are gonna have a phenomenal time. The track is the gauntlet, and there's gonna be plenty of action out there. So hope to see everybody out here. It's gonna be a good one. Rain's gonna hold out, and it'll be a good event.
Yeah, like these guys said, man, total gauntlet here. It kind of reminds me of like a European or like maybe like a European style track, or even like an old battleground. You're kind of like down below in the Coliseum, right? So we're just a bunch of gladiators out there doing battle. So it's gonna go down out there, and we can't wait to get it going this weekend.
Cool, thank you guys, appreciate it.